to reunite with her husband, Spencer Dutton, who sees a tragedy on his trip to Montana from Texas. She endures horrible immigration processes. The Duttons fight winter, which threatens family harmony. They are also concerned about Zane, who meets death at a short distance after getting beaten up by the authorities for marrying Alice in the opening scene of Rhapsody Dutton. In terror, we see Jacob Dutton attempting to shield the family and the ranch foreman, Zane, from the brutal winter. The latter tells him that he will be able to complete the journey on horseback, irrespective of his physical state, which allows the Dutton patriarch to burn down the wagon for heat. Back at the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch, Cara Dutton and Dr. Miller remove the bones of the dead nurse killed by a rabid wolf from the home. Cara puts her feelings for Liz aside in order to treat Elizabeth as Dutton for rabies after they confirm that she will get the disease if they do not proceed with the preventative injections. When Elizabeth refuses the injection, Cara slaps her to bring her senses back. Additionally, the Dutton matriarch states that she is unable to live any other way, but she still doesn't think Jack Dutton's wife has matured into a woman capable of handling the difficulties she's sure to encounter. The young woman eventually agrees to take the injection, but her resolve to move from the ranch stays in her heart. At last, Jacob guides his followers to the ranch. Jack is welcomed by the sight of his wife, packing her things to leave the property as soon as her injections are completed. Elizabeth then makes it apparent that she does not love him enough to tolerate the life-threatening conditions and sufferings at the ranch. Elizabeth would prefer to marry Jack in Boston rather than Montana, but only if that is possible. He tells her that he has a commitment to his family and the land of his ancestors, but she does not care. In fact, she subjects him to her agony as she gets an injection. A hematoma in Zane's skull necessitates the extraction of fluid, as Dr. Miller explains. He can conduct the procedure with a drill, but the physician does not have an anesthetic, which means the foreman will be awake and in unfathomable pain while suffering the same. Finally, after a long and tiring time on a ship, Alex arrives in New York City. She must get the required paperwork and have it approved by immigration officials at Ellis Island. Since she sets off on the journey without sufficient documentation, she alters her last name to Dutton because an officer in charge misunderstands her full name, Alexandra of Sussex. When a doctor orders her to undress for examination, the process becomes almost unbearable. The Englishwoman struggles against the demand, but in the end, she undresses so she can be with Spencer in Montana. In order to examine Alex's vulva region, the doctor orders her to keep her legs apart, which only makes the immigration process worse. Even though she's flooded with emotion from the shame, she vows to keep fighting for Spencer's sake. The Englishwoman conceals her pregnancy from the police, who have been returning pregnant women to their home country. However, the doctor quickly discovers the truth. Alex is subjected to two other doctors who perform identical operations. A racist officer who despises those who come to the U.S. in search of better chances interviews her after the medical examination is over. An unnamed woman seeking a sex worker salary in the United States is what the biased officer assumes Alex is. Even when she claims she's returning to Montana to be with her husband, he still doesn't believe her. The official goes on to say that he frequently encounters ladies who fabricate tales in order to get entry to his nation. After that, Alex shows him her reading skills by reading a Walt Whitman book, which surprises him. To further demonstrate her intelligence and understanding, she picks a chapter that specifically targets the officer. This gets him to approve her entry to the mainland. As the Dutton family braces itself for another brutal Montana winter, bloodshed rages on in the American South. Those who mourn the loss of the Comanche boys, killed by Father Renaud and Marshall Kent, grieve at the same sight. Tribal males quickly descend upon the site of the massacre and declare their intention to avenge their children's murderers. Because their goals are at odds with one another, the Comanche men are unwilling to wait for Marshall to step in and ensure that the killers are punished. Once Kent and Renaud have left a number of corpses on the Comanche property, they press on with their journey. In the meanwhile, Run his horse approaches a band of cowboys in Texas to inquire about camping on their ranch. The Native American teams up with an older cowboy and offers to assist the gang in dealing with the strays if they will just let him. Elsewhere in Texas, Spencer and Luca are on their way to Fort Worth to deliver a consignment of whiskey. The veteran of World War I chooses to stop their journey with bootlegged whiskey when they encounter a group of officers. He makes it clear that he has no intention of dying to save whiskey and begs Luca to put himself before his relatives. But Luca gets back on the road with the liquor, saying that he will do everything for his family. He begs Spencer for the rifle his cousin provided them to deal with the officers, much to his friend's disgust. At long last, the combat veteran relinquishes the firearm. Soon, a shooting develops between the officers and Luca, culminating in the latter's death. Alex, Spencer's wife, arrives at Grand Central Terminal to begin a journey to Montana as he deals with the death of his companion. While buying a ticket, she displays her stack of cash and gets warned that she should be mindful of the pickpockets in the station. At the end of the episode, a man, possibly a thief, follows Alex to the women's room.